This is exactly what Bears fans have been waiting for upon their Week 14 matchup against the Green Bay Packers. We have some positive injury news and more to come from that. Welcome to Bears Digest, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Dylan Guinzy. Thank you for joining me once again. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. 85.9% of watchers over the last month are not subscribed. If you want updates, news, rumors, reactions, everything Bears related, subscribe to get more of that with me. So today, guys, we are just 2 days away now from Bears versus Packers. It has been a long awaited week. I am sure you guys feel the exact same way. It has just been one of those time frames where you're just anticipating this game all week long, but I am glad the Bears are finally back in that scenario for once. We have not had a team that has been on that level in quite some time, and to have this rivalry game back on track where it needs to be is absolutely amazing. So I've been asking you guys most of the week for your score predictions, what you guys think is going to happen in this game. Now it's time for mine. I just want to break that down real quick before we get into the contents of the video. I think this week for the Bears is kind of just set up for them to take a backpedal a little bit. I also said that against the Eagles, so you never know with this team, and that's why it's been so fun. But I think we do split with the Packers. I think it's fair to say that we take a loss on this one, win the game at Soldier Field in prime time in 2 weeks. But again, this team has surprised me all year long, and I absolutely would love to be wrong. But my prediction for this week is 27-23 Packers. I just think that this is a more important game for Green Bay in this spot, which is also surprising. Usually it is more of us being horrific and it doesn't matter at all for both teams, or they just plow us and we have no chance. But this time it's two good teams playing against each other. But I think it's more important for the Packers to get a win in this spot. I think it's just a game that they need more than we do. We kind of played on house money last week against the Eagles. Now we're sitting at 9-3, first in the NFC, everything like that. At some point, you kind of have to take a step back a little bit and then get back underneath your saddle and start rolling after that. So I think the Bears fall to 9-4 after this week, get back on the saddle, get to 10-4, and then beat the Packers in 2 weeks at our place. All things considered, we'll see how this goes. But I think that's the most likely scenario. Again, let me know what you guys think down below. But without further ado, let's pop right into the positive news and the good stuff, which is TJ Edwards is back, finally. We're going to discuss this more in detail here pretty soon. But getting TJ Edwards back is absolutely massive for the run defense. It's massive for the pass defense. I think our linebackers that have had to fill in have been decent. But I think when you play in games like this now against really good teams in the Packers, you need a little bit more juice. And TJ Edwards brings that juice. He's been out for a long time this year. So I hope that he's not on, like a full snap count, but we'll see. He's had some time to ramp up into this spot, but he is a huge piece for the middle core of this defense, and especially when we get him and Tremaine back, it's going to be awesome. We talked about this a couple of days ago, but he is now officially full go, no injury designation for this week. On the lighter news, or bad news, I guess you could say, is Rome Odunze is going to be out this week, as well as Tyreek Stevenson. It's the first game Rome has missed in his career for the Bears since being drafted. He's got that foot injury. I think he's been nursing that the last month or so. Pretty rough news there. I want to see our first-round pick play. He's obviously our best receiver. Been our wide receiver one this year, although he's been, a little bit of a step back recently. But discussed it yesterday that this was a possibility, and now it just confirmed that possibility that he is out for Sunday against the Packers. But along with Rome here, that just opens up more opportunities for other guys to get into the mix, which we're going to discuss here shortly with Luther Burden and other guys like that. But with Rome out, I think this is just kind of a good time, I guess, for him to fully rest up that injury. I think it's been more of a pain tolerance thing over the last month and a half with him, and he hasn't really looked the same as he did earlier in the year. So I think if this is a time for him to get fully healthy and, get right for the playoff push towards the end of the year, I think it makes the most sense, right? We've seen it with a couple of the other guys, and it's worked out and paid off so far doing that way before. So let's do it with Rome here and make sure he is solid and good to go in the coming weeks and for the next Packers game. TJ Edwards, again, we just want to reiterate how important this is having him back in the fold, he was probably our best player on defense overall last year. And obviously this year he's, had the injury bug, something that, hasn't really been able to get out of this year, but now it looks like he is kind of coming out of that, had surgery on his hand, and, had soft tissue stuff as well. So I think he's kind of coming out of that, and we're looking forward to him being a big part of this defense to round out the season. He's only played in 5 games this year so far, 31 tackles combined. Last year, I believe he was our leading tackler by quite a bit. He's just got that kind of juice to him, especially in the run game. He can go up and smack somebody. He can fill the gaps. He's not making big mistakes. He's just one of those guys that's a solid player all around, and he's going to be where he needs to be all game long. So that is big in a rivalry game just like this. Next thing I want to touch on here is guys that can fill that role for Odunze and kind of step up. Luther Burden has to be that guy this week. I talked about DJ Moore yesterday, but Luther Burden needs to be that guy as well. DJ Moore needs to solidify why we're paying him so much money this week and perform in that way there. But Luther Burden needs to go out and show why he can be a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2 or fill in for that DJ Moore role after DJ is gone at some point. He needs to show that. He's shown a lot of promise over the year. He had that big touchdown against Dallas. That was kind of his breakthrough moment or welcome to the NFL moment on that flea flicker. But since then, he's been pretty consistent, getting a little bit more reps here and there. Now he's going to be getting the most reps that he's gotten all season long in the biggest game of the season for the Bears. So I want Luther to go out there and show himself and perform. He's an otherworldly talent in terms of his twitchiness, his run after the catches, things like that. I think the only thing that he needs to work on is that run blocking as well as his route running. All that stuff will come with time. I think, honestly, the biggest loss right now with not having Odunze this week is his run blocking has been fantastic this year. He has been getting after it in the run game, and that's something that he is much further ahead than Luther Burden is at this point in his career, as you could expect. But Odunze kind of got rolled up on when he was run blocking last week against the Eagles. I think that's kind of what set that foot injury more down the line than it was before and kind of increased that pain tolerance. So we'll see there. But Luther Burden, show us what you're made of. Show us why you should have been a first-round pick. Show us why you're upset that other teams passed on you. Let's see all of that. I want to see him go out there and thrive. I want to see them get him the ball in short situations so he can show his ability to run after the catch and do all of that cool stuff that we know he can. So, Luther Burden, your time is now, my friend. Let's see what you got. Here's the tail of the tape for this game. Again, 2 days away, just anxiously waiting. And, of course, we got to wait till mid-afternoon. For that, it always sucks, starting the noon games off, and then you got to wait for the game. But, again, this is kind of the position that the Bears are in. They're playing important games. They're going to be in the important spots and in slots on Sunday games. So, 3:25 start. 9-3 Packers take on, or 9-3 Bears take on 8-3-1 Packers. Opened up as a touchdown favorite. The Green Bay Packers did. Now they're at 6.5. I'd imagine that goes back to 7. It's a little bit disrespectful when you have a team that has a better record, and Green Bay's playing a touchdown favorite. You got to take that a little bit personally if you're the Bears and show them what you're made of. Same case as last week. Eagles were favored by 7.5 actually, more than a touchdown. And the Bears took it to them and stomped them into the ground and ran it down their throat all day. So let's do the same thing here this Sunday. Looking like a low-scoring game, at least what the predictions show. It's going to be very cold, typical Green Bay fashion in December. Same with Chicago. Might be a little bit windy as well, but just going to be a frigid one and an all-time classic ball game. Finally, this rivalry is back to where it needs to be. Let's hope for a Bears win. Again, my prediction is the Packers are going to take this one. But I would love to be proven wrong, just like I have a lot this year with how good this team has been. So thank you guys for joining Bears Digest once again. Let's go get a W on Sunday. As always, bear down.